Okie doke. We had some technical difficulties on our last new player tournament. My computer was overheating again. I just got it back from the shop, and we had to replace the whole cooling system, which is fun and great. But we have work to do. Asorkin and MTK's Joy Boy fought in the semifinals of our new player tournament, which we did not get to cast because my computer overheated and died. So now you all get it as a separate video. Semifinals and finals of new player tournaments. This video will cover 3 matchups, and I'll edit out the loading times and whatnot so we can just get into the action. So for the first semifinal of our new player tournament, we have the Chosen of the Gods, Shop to Great Bows, Angel Shop to Great Bows regular, Arkin the Black with Spirit Leech, and then Eyes of the Desert, Sporkle Stalkers, a bunch of Skeleton Warriors, Nehekar Horsemen, Skeleton Spearmen, Tomb Guard, some Tomb Guard with Halberds. On the other side for the Lizardmen of Joy Boy, Ripperdactyl Riders, including the Colossadon Hunters. We have Oxyotl, interestingly enough, Skinking Priest of Beast with just Flock of Doom, some Feral Cold Ones, a front line of Saurus and Skinks mixed throughout, more Feral Cold Ones on the top side, and 1 Ancient Salamander for a little bit of fire damage crowd clearing. Unlike my normal videos that I just post, this is a semifinals and finals, so I don't filter them out for non-meta stuff or particularly close games. And I haven't seen any of these games, so I don't know. Maybe the Lizardmen just stomp the shit out of the Tomb Kings. Maybe they don't. We're gonna find out together. Arkin does throw out his first summon to just disrupt some Saurus and hold up the front line. Meanwhile, Nehekar Horsemen charge out and get a free damage spike onto the Skin Court's Javelins. This is a good strategy in general. If your opponent either doesn't have mobility or doesn't have mobility with their front line, you can just charge and get free damage on little things like that, especially Chaff Infantry with low HP and low armor thresholds. So Nehekar Horsemen continuing to charge through some people, getting what damage they can out while the Chosen of the Gods continue to punish these Saurus, and wow, they're doing a lot of damage. The basic Ushop don't do that much damage to Saurus. They might want to switch their target, but I suppose Joy Boy is keeping everything of value to the basic Ushopti in the trees. So, never mind. It's fine for a Sorkin to be shooting these guys while he can. It's very unlikely he gets all of his damage out in this game, because Lizardman brought very little healing. So it's not really a grind of attrition, it's more of a rush type build. So he knows he's not going to get all of his ammo out, might as well keep shooting while he can. But now these Ripperdactyls have come out of the trees, that single target Ushopti does need to turn around and start shooting at them. That is a more valuable target. Sporkle Stalkers also need to turn and fire at those guys, so we'll see what they end up doing. Those are men front line, while advancing and getting into combat, have taken a lot of damage. Lizardmen are not happy about that, but a lot of their hopes and dreams are actually in these monstrous things. The Ripperdactyls, the Ancient Salamander somewhere, things like that. The Rippers are going after the Chosen Gods. Good. I thought they were going to stop on the Tomb Guard, which is not worth their time. And the Colossadon Hunters did get surprised by the Sporkle Stalkers, who are stalked, as their name suggests. So I believe that the Colossadon Hunters didn't know these guys were here until they landed, and now they're in a little bit of trouble. Up on the high ground, Feral Cold Ones get into a fight with some Spearmen that they don't want, but Rampage keeps them in it whether they want to be there or not. And Oxyotl, I don't know what he's going to shoot at all game. Looks like he maybe wants to poke away at Arkin the Black, who has found the Skink Priest of Beasts. He's going to rout that guy quite quickly. Ancient Salamanders firing into Ushopti Great Bows. That will not do a lot of damage. Their missiles aren't anti-large. In general, I think the Ancient Salamander is just better at shooting clumps of infantry or cavalry. It's a clump punisher. It's not really meant to poke at things like that. Basic Ripperdactyls get caught on the back line. And now with Halberds and other Tomb Guard and Nehekar Horsemen, they're just getting torn apart and the Chosen Gods getting away. At this point, the Lizardmen are starting to look a little doomed. We have some Saurus left. That's really about it for real carry potential. Yeah, these Feral Cold Ones are healthy, but it's a 450 gold Feral Cold One. It's not, insane. It's not like a Grail Knight. It's going to carry the whole game. Oxyotl is still shooting away. I don't see attack orders from him, so it's really hard to tell what he's shooting at, but it looks like he is aiming at Arkin. It's just not super obvious that he's doing so. And this is generally why you've seen Oxyotl fall out of the meta. He used to be super popular in Warhammer 2, and now he's really not, is he's been firing at something for 4 minutes, and he hasn't even got 400 value. He just didn't scale well into Game 3. Look at that damage. That is pathetic damage from Oxyotl. Come on, Oxy. Anyway, the Tomb King's starting to wrap this up. I think I can go into ×2 speed unless something crazy happens. But the Tomb Kings, they have everything they need to win this game. Both their Ushopti are fine, their Sporkle Stalkers are fine. They have a bunch of Tomb Guard and Chaff left to still defend these guys, and Arkin is completely chilling. The Ushabti Summon is even out to get some damage onto Sora's spears, just for the lulls. And the late game does not favor the Lizardmen. They didn't bring a bunch of healing. So it's not like they can just rely on grinding it out and having more HP than you in the end game. Feral Goldin's trying to snipe out Arkan. That is a little overbold of him, but then the Ushabti start offering some support, and he gets sent to safety. Ah, that's where the Lizardmen's balance of power has been. I was wondering why they weren't worse off. The Ancient Salamander exists. I just forgot about him. Now the Ushabti should take care of him while Arkan runs down Oxyotl. And that is our first semifinal going to Sorkin. So he will go to the finals to face whoever wins the next game. For values, Arkan did well. Ushabti Great Bows and the Spork Stalkers did fine. And the 4 Nehekar Horsemen actually did provide a lot of battlefield control, which is nice. I don't usually have high praise to say for the Nehekar Horsemen. It is nice to see them do well once in a while. Oxyotl underwhelmed. Ripperdactyls got caught out. Salamander did fine. Saurus did their job. They just sat in ground through the front line of the Tomb Kings. But yeah, Lizardman build had some holes in it, unfortunately. GG, though. Semi-final 2 between Olaf the Moose and Power Chan. From our new player tournament, we host one every week, switching time zones each week. So if you're in Europe and I host one during the NA nighttime, you're asleep because it's 3 a.m. and you're bummed. Next week, it'll be more at your like 6 or 7 p.m. So do keep an eye out for those. Dwarves, High Elves, Olaf the Moose, and Power Chan. For the High Elves, we have Tyrion. Nice. Mage of Metal with Final Translation and Searing Doom. Front line of Spearmen and White Lions mixed throughout for some of that armor piercing. Then we have 2 War Lions of Krace for some monstrous infantry, anti-infantry armor piercing. 2 Archers, 3 Bolt Throwers, and then just 2 Illyrian Reapers. For the Dwarves, we do have Dwarf Warriors and Miners of Blasting Charges, Longbeards mixed throughout that front line as well. Some Thunderers, 2 Cannons, Slayers in the backfield, and then Belgar Ironhammer and a Master Engineer up on the high ground. He did bring some buffs. What did he bring? Entrenchment, Flash Bomb, Ballistic Calibration, and the Firing of Thori. Wow, that is a stacked Master Engineer. Okay. Cool. 3 Bolt Throwers should be able to outduel 2 Cannons. Should, when they get into range. Which could be a problem for the Dwarves if they're forced out into the open. Now, Bolt Throwers aren't particularly impressive after that point. They'll throw on their Scatter Shot and do okay-ish, kind of, possibly, sort of. But not, like, super amazing. High Elf's still going to move up for now. And there goes those Bolt Throwers raining in onto the cannon pieces. And with the single shot, they're going to really want to hit the cannons specifically and take out whole models, rather than try and snipe the crew. So we'll see where they're aiming. Not that it's the player's fault, but cannons of the Dwarves are generally good at counter-artillery stuff. I'm going to say this even though it just happened in front of you, but it is a little difficult to hit these tiny Eagle Claw Bolt Throwers. So generally, these guys are actually pretty good at anti-artillery duels with the Dwarves. While the Dwarves normally have a superiority there, like Queen Bess or the Empire cannons, Dwarven cannons will usually do better, but not versus Elves. Overcasted Searing Doom's trying to do some extra damage to the cannons. Already 2 of these models are missing as the artillery duel continues on. And I wonder how long it'll take the Dwarves to realize that they're losing this one. They should probably be moving forward. Tyrion did take some meaningful poke from something. I wonder if the cannons took any time to shoot at him while I wasn't paying attention. But the Master Engineer has actually been pumping away at him with that little shotgun. Bolt Throwers. So far at 11 out of 12 total models, while the cannons are down to 5 out of 8. So High Elf's definitely winning that fight. We'll ×2 speed it for just a little bit. Is this last cannon? Cannon survived, but the crew did rout away. Now the Bolt Throwers all train their sights onto this last cannon, but now the Dwarves are realizing they're losing the artillery fight and they should start to move up. And the cannon isn't even going to try and fire at the Bolt Throwers anymore. Realizes it's a lost cause. It just tries to get its value out on whatever it can. Looks like now it's shooting the White Lions of Krace. That armor-piercing infantry of the Elves. Miners of Blasting Charges getting forced forward and now getting shot at by archers. And this is just a tough time for the Dwarves. If you lose the ranged capacity, Like, your cannons, you're getting outshot. Now you have to abandon your defensive formations and probably fight someone who has more mobility than you. And the further you get drawn out, the more these Illyrian Reavers can sneak in behind and maybe finish off the cannons, rear charge some Quarrelers, or if anything routes, they can just scoop it up. So Dwarves really do not like being pulled out of their defensive formation. Tyrion and some War Lions dive onto the Miners' blasting charges before they get that deadly salvo off, which is the entire reason you bring the units. That is a good catch from the High Elves, getting onto them with Tyrion and the War Lions that they can't throw. The rest of the Dwarves still trying to move out, but they're just so slow. They're so slow. This is one of the two ways to deal with the Dwarven box, is to just somehow outshoot it. It's one of the reasons Skaven is so good into Dwarves, is because Skaven are probably the best shooting faction in the entire game, DPS-wise. They have other weaknesses, but like no one can out-DPS the Skaven, and when the Dwarves can't outshoot you, they run into some severe issues. Illyrian Reavers do swoop in, like we said, to finish off these cannons. The bolt throwers can switch on to other things now, because the cannons are doomed at this point. Tyrion's trying to get a fight somewhere, but Thunderers and this Master Engineer continue to poke away at him. Master Engineer, he has 300 value, I suppose. Searing Doom, plus the Bolt Throwers hit this Quarreler. Oof, that is a lot of damage. They're going to get knocked out as the War Lions of Christ continue to roll through the Dwarven lines. Thunderers also under duress. Those big bad kitty cats start stomping around him. And without the global buffs of Thoric that got taken away, and I think one of the most recent patches we got for the game, without the global buffs of Thoric, it's like White Lions of Christ can actually body Dwarf Warriors without that extra melee attack. And then Quarrelers can't fight back against War Lions of Christ nearly as well. Illyrian Reavers continuing to just roll through the back line and catch anybody that's already routing or thinking about routing and make sure that they follow through on that promise. And Tyrion's still getting low, but he has his heal. Yes, he does. He has his Heart of Averlorn. And the Dwarves don't really have... Ooh, nice Final Transmutation. The Dwarves don't have a big source of terror or a giant monster that can get the famous Tyrion route before he heals and then he runs off the map. The Dwarves aren't going to do that. He'll probably get his heal off, and even if he routes before getting his heal off, they don't have the capacity to chase him, so at least get to safety and then rally after his heal pops. Flash bomb these White Lions of Christ, lowering their melee defense down to 16 as Belegar fights back against them, popping all of his buffs for an impressive 100 melee attack and 84 melee defense. But I just don't know what the Dwarves are going to do at this point. Most of their balance of power is coming from Tyrion being so low. And I guess they still have some Slayers left and whatnot, but, I mean, Tyrion has a second health bar hidden in there. We still have all 3 Bolt Throwers online, which is really brutal, and they're all targeting the poor Master Engineer. Anyway, both archers still firing away at these Dwarf Warriors with great weapons who are unshielded. High armor, but unshielded. And elsewhere, Illyrian Reavers still mopping up the backline whenever anybody routes. We have 1 Thunderer still alive. And then we have some Slayers. That's about it. That is about it as Belegar fights his way through some White Lions. And he'll beat them, eventually. That's not really the name of the game, is it? The name of the game is just chase off all the dwarves, finish off Belegar last. Another Final Transmutation from the Elven Caster. Oh no, that's a rally from Belegar. It's a good thing. Okay. I don't see any way for the dwarves back in here. I will ×2 speed unless something crazy happens. Slayers try and chase down these White Lions who are just going after Thunderers. High Elves route off the rest of the stuff. Meanwhile, Dwarf Warriors chase Archers. And the Bolt Throwers are actually starting to run out of ammunition. Illyrian Reavers tackle the Master Engineer. That's really not worth their time. He's never going to route. He's a dwarf. His leadership is way too good for that kind of shenanigans. And this is much better, where they're just going to cycle charge Slayers or run off these Dwarf Warriors. Like that a lot more. Up on the high ground, the last healthy Slayer is fighting those White Lions of Krace and the Mage of Metal. They might actually kill the Mage of Metal unless she gets some support in some way. That could be a bit of a whoopsie, but the game is too far gone, so it doesn't really matter. GG. Olaf the Moose will advance to finals to fight Sorkin. Power Chan had a good run in this tournament overall. I think they went 4-0 in the group stage. And then we did some free-for-all shenanigans. If you were part of the stream, you were there. You know that it turned into a giant mess. You know. But, yeah, Power Chain had a good first run through a tournament. that I saw them in. GG's. So it is finals time! This is actually my first time seeing this game, and I actually don't know who won the tournament because both players sent me the replay afterwards. So it is Olaf the Moose versus Asorkin. We are finding out right now who did done wonnered. High Elves Greenskins. It is Imric and a Lifecaster. But the rest of the build is a little spicy, with some Rangers. 5 Rangers, in fact, and Rahagra's Pride. And the other side, the Greenskin build is a little odd. Skarsnik instead of Azhag. Azhag or Warzag in this matchup is honestly okay. So, for the High Elves, since we mostly covered them, we do have Imric up on his dragon, 5 Rangers, Rahagra's Pride, the Warlion's ROR with that Mighty Roar, lowers the leadership of your opponents. So Spearman, the Fireborn, Mage of Life with Regrowth and Earthblood, and 4 Illyrian Reaver Archers. On the side of the Greenskins, we have Skarsnik with Spited to Bad Moon and Fermented Fungi, his little Rampage debuff thing. We have a bunch of Squig Herds, Orc Boarboy Biggins, 2 Stone Trolls, some Savage Orc Biggins, Morgulmensch Marauders, an Orc Boy Frontline, with some more Savage Orcs to back them up. And we do have 1 Stalking Moonhowlers, the Goblin Wolf Rider ROR, slightly better stats and fear. Dragonhorn is already out for Imric as High Elves. The High Elven Rangers are showing why you don't usually see them taken very often. They take so much damage in any trades that they really do. And Skarsnik is down here. Dragonhorn from Imric. He pops some of his buffs, but he gets Mithered, Spirit Leeched, and Fermented Fungi, threatening to rampage him while he's surrounded by Stone Trolls. And Savage Orc Biggins coming in. If he rampages it, this could be a disaster. But he somehow manages not to rampage despite taking all that damage, and now he is free to just get out of here. The Moonhowlers charge in, then think better of it and charge out. I would hate for them to actually just charge into Imric and sacrifice their lives to hold him in place. As all these Stone Trolls get a wah, oh, they would have loved to have been surrounding Imric right now, but he is going to slink away. Greenskin's pulling ahead on the balance of power a little bit, and on battlefield control, I definitely agree. The Ranger is just not proving up to the task as a wah. Takes a lot of them out, and the Fireborn gets stuck in a bad fight with the Broken Tusk mob. Looks like they've been taking a bit of arm-piercing missile fire as support, plus the Broken Tusk mob look like they got the charge in the Dragon Princes, and a wall was popped. All those things together mean the Dragon Princes have taken a lot of damage. Imric dives in, though. He will turn the tide on this little side fight, providing his terror and just all of his damage as a regrowth heals him back up. The High Elves do have healing. That is something we do have to respect, but it's looking bleak right now for them. The bounce power doesn't show it, but just like looking at the battlefield, I am very scared for the side of the High Elves. Their Dragon Princes have taken a ton of damage, and Regrowth was on cooldown because it just healed up Imric, and now an Earthblood was used there too. Their front line is largely in tatters, so they won't have that to fall back on, and currently their Mage of Life is in a bad way. Meanwhile, for the Greenskins, they're largely chilling. Their Caster's fine, Skarsnik's fine, the Trolls are fine. They have a good amount of Savage Orc Biggins left to still do some damage. I guess with 4 Illyrian Reaver Archers, and most of your opponent infantry is Savage Orcs, that's okay. They don't have shields, they don't have armor. But the balance power is creeping further away from the High Elves, and I definitely agree as the center fight just went to shit. Savage Orc Biggins plus the Stone Trolls beat up Rahagra's Pride and pushed them away. We'll see what the High Elves can do. Now their best hope is to just... It's not cheese, but I don't know what else to call it, but just like run down as many things as you can in the distance while spamming out heals if possible. Though if they lost their caster, where did she end up? Because if they lost their caster, then they're doomed. The only way back into this game is just to delay it and spam heals as much as possible. But yeah, it looks like she's dead. I don't see her anywhere. Without her, this game is over. Imric can't carry without healing. Fireborn just about to die. Savage Orc Biggins taking their day out on Imric with the Broken Tusk mob nearby to help out a little bit with some of that armor-piercing damage, plus their Encourage aura to give a little bit more leadership. The Greenskins are closing in on Imric and closing in on Championship, honestly. Illyrian Reaver Archers over here doing fine, routing off some stuff and shooting their bows, but it doesn't really matter. Most of the Greenskin power is over here. Another Spirit Leech onto Imric, and that is a second Fermented Fungi, trying to rampage him, since he never actually got Rampage before, or if he did, it lasted all of 1 second, but it still looks like he's not going to Rampage, somehow proving immune to that the concept of rampaging. And he is going to get out of here. Stone Trolls lumber slowly after him. But Skarsnik and the boys, man. They're taking him down. Nice little breath attack from Emmerich, and he almost routes off that stone troll. But they hold. They hold for now. I'm only fast forwarding because I think this shit is doomed. I'll slow down if anything happens. There it is. So GG. Apparently a Sorkin won on the back of the Greenskins. Take the final. Well played to both these players. Obviously getting to finals is an achievement in of itself. Rangers did okay, not amazing, unfortunately, for the High Elves. Illyrian Reaver Archers really did do nice work around the battlefield, and then everything else kind of let them down. For a Sorkin, Scarsnake proved to be tanky. His Rampages didn't really work out for some reason on Emmerich. I don't know why neither of them triggered, but okay, sure, whatever. Maybe they did, and I just didn't notice it on the flags. It is kind of a subtle effect. But his Stone Trolls were a good constant bodyguard next to Scarsnake. Savage Orc Biggins did pretty darn good work. Morgan's Mangy Marauders did awesome. And Orc Boys, they held for a bit. GG.
Roar. Subscribe, yes, yes.